The next one was to read a book that you were scared to read. So I picked up, oh, let's try that again. Wow. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with June's TBR. So it's time for June. Actually, today is the first day of June. I'm actually getting this out on the 1st. My recording schedule actually allowed it. It's crazy. Which is crazy to think about because I was talking to one of my friends about how mean the basket has been to me recently. And she suggested maybe going through it because I haven't really done anything with the prompts, which got me thinking that as of this June, we've been playing this game for 2 years, which is crazy. So happy 2-year anniversary to the basket. I'm very excited about it. But yeah, so I went through all the prompts and actually took out ones that like no longer applied, added things that I'm really interested in right now, and I'll probably like continue to do that over the years. So we've got a few more things in here that, I mean, overall it's the same number of prompts, it's just a few of them are different because like when I first started this, I was doing different like TBR jars as well, and so there were a couple of prompts in here that had to do with the jars that I don't have this year, and so there's just a couple of things like that. So I've tried to phrase it in a way that maybe we'll get some new, hopefully we'll get some of the new ones this month and I can tell you about them, but I phrased them in a way that maybe like they'll work for future years. But I'm very excited about the basket. Hopefully it'll be nice to me. As far as reading this month goes, I've got my normal buddy reads, like my Tessa Dare buddy read. I've got the Wicked Villains buddy read that I'm doing with my friend Taylor, but I'm also participating in Whatever-a-thon hosted by Maddie over at Book Browsing Blog. I'll make sure I leave her channel, or her, well yes, her channel, but like her announcement video down below. But the idea of it is, this is the 2nd year she's done it, but the idea of it is just read whatever you want. So like you set your own goal. So there is extra things that you can do. There are 4 teams that you can be a part of. There's a tic-tac-toe board if you want to do like even extra prompts, but mainly the goal is you set your TBR to whatever number you want and then you reach that number and like that's it. So I went ahead and set my number to 10 books because I think that's a really easy number for me. Like I've been reading quite a lot more than 10 books and I think 10 books is a really nice number. I can hit it, plus like vacations and stuff are happening, so I oddly read less during those. So having a kind of lower number than I usually would set myself to, I think is going to be good for June. But I'm really excited about it, and let's dive in and see how last month went before we take a look at this month, or what we're going to be doing this month. So if you guys remember, last month I didn't take any punishments because the month before was super mean to me, and then the basket said haha, and I had to pick 2 books for every prompt. So I ended up having 16 books anyway. So going through the 16 books, the first prompt was to read a book with a 1-word title. So I picked both The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon and then Karamo by Karamo Brown. The next one was to read a historical fiction book. So I picked Goddess of the Hunt by Tessa Dare and Gentle Rogue by Joanna Lindsay. The next one was a book not set in the US. I tried to do not set in the US or in the UK if I can help it, and this time I actually was able to. So I did the 8th volume of Dreaming Sun by Ichigo Taganu, and then also Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan. The next one was an A to Z book, so the first one had to start with a W, so I went with the first volume of Wataki, and then the next one had to start with an I, so I went with I Love You, I Hate You. The next one is to read a cover by, so we did both Never Fall for Your Fiancé by Virginia Heath, and then A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, which is the 2nd in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So the next one was to read a book that you are scared to read, so I picked the first in the Beautiful Bastards series, Beautiful Bastards by Christina Lauren, and then the arc I have of The Sizzle Paradox by Lily Menon. The next one was to include something that you would want to do. The first one was Half a Soul by Olivia Altwater. I don't remember what it was that I wanted to do, probably Live in Regency Times. And then the other one was Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tirzah Price, which was solving mysteries. And the last one was to read a book that has an LGBTQ plus character in it, and I picked the first one, which was Worthy Opponent, and this did have some in it actually as I was reading it. I wasn't sure if you saw my last TBR. I was like, but some of you guys in the comments said that you were, so picked that one. And then also Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli, which has multiple, but primarily a gay main character. Well, a couple of gay main characters and a trans main character. So all of the things within this. So looking at that list, it was 18 books long. It was ridiculous. I definitely didn't finish them all, but I did significantly better than I thought I was going to do. So I am making one teeny tiny change. It's not huge as far as the punishments goes, because, for example, I have one this month, which is why I'm bringing it up. This is A Paradox by Lily Minnan. It's one of the books that I didn't get around to. It does come out next month. I do have the arc of it, but it got pushed back a little bit, so it doesn't come out until the end of June. So I think the 28th is the number I've got in my head. So I'm not going to take a punishment for this one because I'm adding it on to next month's TBR anyway. So books like this, arcs, maybe buddy reads, things like that I didn't get to, but I'm for sure going to read the next month. Instead of picking an extra prompt and then also adding this book on, I'm just going to like make this the punishment. So like I'm adding the book on anyway, so instead of having like eight books that I pick and then like a 9th punishment for this one, the 9th book's just going to be this one. I really hope that made sense. I have no idea if it did, but that's kind of what I want to do moving forward. So we're just going to go ahead and add that one on. A couple of books that I haven't even finished or started, I'm not even going to probably touch this month, is Never Fall for Your Fiance and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. Time just got away from me. I had way too much on my TBR this month, so I'm going to go ahead and take 2 punishments. So we're going to have 10 punishments this month, or 10 original, like full-on pulls this month. And then I also haven't finished these 2, but I am going to by the end of the month. So I'm about over halfway through Half a Soul. Probably will finish this one today or tomorrow as of recording this. There's like 4 or 5 days left in the month. I haven't started this one yet, but I'm going to make a lot of progress in this one. I might not finish it by the end of the month, but it'll be the first thing I finish in June, even if I don't get to it. But I'm going to make a lot of headway in this over the next few days, I'm sure of it. So I'm not going to take punishments for those because I'm going to have either finished or will have made a big chunk in it before the end of the month. So 2 punishments for these 2. So we're going to start with 10 picks and let's just dive into the first one. Pick number 1. Oh, a Philippa Gregory book. The first one, right out of the gate, is Philippa Gregory. I've got a couple of authors in the TBR basket like this, so the next one on my very long list of her kind of Tudor Plantagenet England series is The Taming of the Queen. So this one follows Catherine Parr, which is the last wife of Henry VIII. We're now in that time period where I think there are, beyond this one, there are only 3 more books in the series. I mean, there's 4 more in the series after this, but there's only 3 that I haven't read yet. So we're now starting to get into the time of the end of Henry VIII's reign and the reign of his kids, because that's kind of how the Tudor series ends for her. So this is his last wife, and it follows her kind of being Henry's last wife. And I'm super interested. I've got really interested in the last couple of books. I think Philippa Gregory is a fantastic author, but I think it's good to put some space in between each book because she writes very, very dense historical books, and like they are long. Like most of her books will follow one person's life, and so it's them in all of these different situations in their life, and I think it's really interesting because she always writes, at least in the Tudor Plantagenet Tudor series that I've been reading, I think all of them are from the woman's perspective, which you don't see a whole lot of. I mean, you're seeing a lot more now, but like as far as like historical documents and stuff, you're not seeing a whole lot of that. So I think it's really interesting to see her take on the wife that actually outlived, well, minus one, the last wife he had that like outlived him. So it's her story and, you know, why she ended up marrying him, that kind of thing. Her life, I feel like she was in love with someone, I'm not entirely sure, before she married him. But Philippa Gregory is a historian herself. She does a lot of research into this time period, these women, and so it's as historically accurate as you can possibly make it. And I really enjoyed the last one. This is one of her relatively shorter books as far as that series goes, so I am really excited to dive into this one. I almost picked this one up after I had read 2 of her stories back to back and was like really into this world, but I think taking a break is a good idea, so I'm excited to dive into this one. But yes, this is my pick. pick number 2. Here we go. All right. Okay, so the second prompt was best friend pick, which we haven't had on here in a little bit. So let me just I've got Lauren ready to go, so let me give her a call really, really quickly and see what she suggests. I have an idea. There was a book that she mentioned to me literally last weekend when I saw her, and I don't remember what it's called, but she told me about it. And I think it's that one, but I can't remember. So let's give her a quick video. I've got my computer right here. So let me call her real quick. Okay.
Hello?
Hello! That was a very aggressive way to answer. I do apologize.
That's okay.
So, it is best friend pick. So, have fun. Free range, as usual.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I tell you now?
Yes.
Is that how this works?
Yes, tell me now.
Okay. Hi. Okay. So I know you said that you probably have a guess.
I do.
On what I'm going to pick, and I think you're probably going to be right. So we're gonna see. So ironically, the last time that you had this prompt, I picked something by the exact same author, so it worked out so well. I see your face.
Yeah. I couldn't remember the name, but I knew this was coming.
My recommendation for you is When We Were Infinite by Kelly Lloyd Gilbert. I think it will appeal to you for the following reasons. Number one, you've had some tumultuous times with YA romance recently. And this is on the older end of YA because these characters are seniors and then going into college.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it has a nice mix of still the stuff that makes YA awesome, but also like that maybe I remember this a little more than I did when I was 15 kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the audiobook is great, so if you can get the audiobook,
okay.
then that's the way I recommend you listening to it. And also it has some other themes aside from romance, so it has a little bit of romance, but I would definitely say that's not the number one thing. So I think you will enjoy it. It made me cry.
Yeah. No, I remember you telling me about it, and I was like, I've got to put that on my TBR. That sounds good. And then, of course, in my head, the best part about this whole thing was in my head, I was like, watch best friend pick come up. That's going to be really funny. Like, I was going to say it out loud and say, that's going to be the book you pick, right? And then it came up, and I was like, I knew it.
I knew you were going to guess. Like one other book I told her to read recently, and that was the one I told you.
Yeah. I'm excited, though. I'll have to see if the library has it, because, I mean, they had the last one, so I would assume that they have this one, or the other one by the author, so. The cover is stunning, though, from what you showed me. Mwah.
It's very pretty. It was on my TBR for a while before I finally got around to listening to it. I'm glad I did, though.
Good. Okay. Well, I'll have to tell you all my thoughts when I get around to it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course, anytime. It gave me an excuse to make myself look less like a hobo.
No shame at all. Like, seriously, I did not get out of bed today like I meant to. It's been a day. So, the book that Lauren picked for me, as you heard, was When We Were Infinite by Kelly Lloyd Gilbert. This one, I've just kind of looked it up on Goodreads, and it sounds very vague but interesting. Like, I'm very interested to see how it's going to work. But it follows our main character, Beth, and she's part of this very tight-knit group of friends of like 5, I think, including her. She doesn't feel like she really fits, but you know, these are her people. Her family, it says here that her family is kind of splintering. She's not sure about her future. She's about to go off to college. What is her future going to look like? I don't know. But then it says that Beth witnesses a private act of violence in Jason's home, which is one of these 5. Actually the one that she has a crush on. And that kind of like breaks, it changes things. That changes the dynamic in their group. So I don't know what this act of violence is. I don't know how serious it's going to be as far as like trigger warnings and stuff. So I'll try to see if I can investigate that. And we'll let you guys know when I read it. But I always trust Lauren's opinion, of course. And she always comes up with these really good books that like really hit you in the heart. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited and nervous at the same time because of, you know, it's going to be like you can already tell it's going to hit a tough subject, but I'm not sure what that is. So we'll go into it, and I am excited because, again, her recommendations are always really good. Number 3.
read a YA book.
Okay, the next one is to read a YA book. And looking at, like, I kind of started planning for the whatever-a-thon as far as tic-tac-toe goes. I just put a bunch of things in there. And one of the things actually works really well, and I've been wanting to get to it, and that is Spy Family Volume 2. Since I was able to find it in April, I haven't had a chance to actually read it, but I remember adoring the first one, so I've got 1 through 4, I think, at this point, so I'd really, really, really like to dive into this again. Maybe I might have to read the first one, I'm not sure, to kind of remind myself what happened. But the idea of this is we have our main character, his name is Twilight, and he is a spy, and he is sent to infiltrate this kind of boarding school of sorts. So he creates this fake family, he hires or adopts this little girl from an orphanage, and she's a telepath, and then he finds this woman who's an assassin, and she ends up playing his wife, and so they create this little family so that he can do his mission. And from what I could tell from the first one, it seems like they're actually going to create this really kind of cute family, and I adored it, so I can't wait to dive into the second volume, and I've been wanting to get to this one since I picked it up, and I just haven't yet, so I'm very excited.
Number 4. Read a book by an author that you gave 5 stars to.
Okay, the next one is an author that you gave 5 stars to in the past. So, like, it doesn't have to be like a 5-star prediction for this book, just like something this author has written, you've given 5 stars to. So for this prompt, I'm actually going to use it as my Wicked Villains buddy read, and the next one in this is The Beast, and this is by Katie Robert. I've given a couple of things by this author 5 stars. Most recently, the third one in the series got 5 stars. I think the first one in the series got 5 stars as well, but maybe not. Maybe that one was closer to a 4. And then, of course, her Dark Olympus series has gotten 5 stars. But this one is the next in her Wicked Villains series, and it follows, as I'm sure you could tell, the kind of Beauty and the Beast story. So we have Gaeton, who is the Gaston character. We've got Beast. As you can tell, I don't really know much about them because, like, Gaeton was a big role, had like a decent sized role in the third book, so we've seen him a lot, and we saw the Beast a little bit, but he didn't really do anything. And I can't remember her name, but it's the Belle character as well. So it's the 3 of them and their relationship. And they've had a past because, like, the Beast and Gaeton, I think, were pretty good friends, but they both fell for the same girl. And she kind of strung them along and ended up not picking either one of them. And I think at this point, they kind of come back to her and make her choose. So I'm not sure what we're getting into with this one. I did enjoy the throuple of sorts that we've already seen in this series, so we'll see how this one goes. But I'm always excited to read this with my friend Taylor, so that's going to be this pick.
Number 5. The lowest rated on Goodreads.
And the next one is lowest rated on Goodreads. So let me pull up my computer here real quick and see if I can do a screen record, and we'll look at my Goodreads. I don't have a lot of, like, when it comes to my, like, TBR on Goodreads, it's all over the place. It's things that I've added randomly. It's like half of the books that I own, but not all of them. So it's, yeah. So let's go to the TBR section, or the want to read section, and get this as far as, like, average rating. How do I do this? Oh no, that's my rating. Hold on. I've messed up somehow. Average rating. Here we go. And then, so those are no ratings. No. Those are the best ratings. Here we go. Okay. So I suspect there's going to be a lot of things that I can't choose because it's, like, a lot of people, probably some of the lower ones are ones that haven't come out yet. So, oh yeah, point taken. First one hasn't come out yet. Second one I don't think has come out yet. Oh, okay. So this one I've got this one. And it is the first one in the series. Okay, good. So this is Poison by Sarah Pinborough, and I've got all 3. It's like Poison, Charm, and Beauty. I think I said those out of order, but it's this, like, they're really small. Well, hold on, let me grab it real quick. So it looks like this. It's relatively short, but it's like a retelling of a Disney kind of fairy tale of sorts. Obviously, this one is Snow White. And it says, oh, it poses some questions in the back here that says, Snow White is the innocent victim, Prince Charming as the dashing hero, love at first sight, happily ever after, questions? So it basically gives like a twisted look at a fairy tale. So this one just happens to be the Snow White one. It makes it sound like Snow White's actually the villain in this story. I've had these for quite a while and kind of saved them for readathons because they're relatively short, but this one has an average rating of like 3.13. So out of 4,000 ratings and 600 reviews. So I'm very interested to see if I will enjoy it. I love a good retelling, but I'm glad that one was actually relatively short, and I am excited about it, so I'm not worried. Like, considering that the lowest is still a 3-star, I'll take it.
Number 6. Ooh, a yearly reading goal.
Okay, so the next one is one of the newer ones added in that I put in. Hopefully that will last more than this year, and that is a yearly reading goal, which I've just decided to kind of make a general prompt, because like every year my reading goals will change, and I'll have a different set of books or a different way I'm doing my set of books that I want to read each year. This year it's just a bunch of books that came out last year. I've also got some goals of reading nonfiction and middle grade. I've got some goals of possibly finishing a couple of series. So there is a lot that could fit in for this prompt. I'm using it for my middle grade prompt because I'm trying to read one middle grade and one nonfiction every single month. And so for this one, I actually need to pick up a copy myself, but it is for, I'm going to get this name so wrong, Ramiza, I think, and this is by Radia Hafsa. So it says here that this book is a kind of a weaving of 3 classic fairy tales into one, but the idea of it is our main character is like a Rapunzel kind of character, but she's a Muslim girl who lets her hijab down, and that's instead of like her hair, and that's kind of like the Rapunzel retelling, and then she goes on some adventures. But this cover is stunning. I was first introduced to this on Jade's channel, from JD Rereads, so I will leave her channel down below. This one just sounds really, really good. I found the audiobook somewhere online, and it fits for a couple of the prompts for whatever-a-thon. So, yeah, this is my middle grade, and I'm actually really excited. I've had it on my TBR for quite a while.
Number 7. Read your next book in the same place the whole time.
Alright, so the next one, this is a prompt we've gotten before, but I've rearranged it a little bit because the wording has always been weird. And this is just read the next book in the same place the whole time. So this is not actually a prompt, it's more of like a characteristic, so it doesn't count as picking a book, but the next book that I pick, I have to read in the same place the whole time. So let's see what that prompt is real quick.
Number 7. Read a tome or a book over 450 pages.
So, I love everything about this. So the next prompt that I have to sit in the same place the entire time is to read a tome, which is a book that's over 450 pages. So this is just barely making it, but I really, really want to get it in this month, and that is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is just over 450, like it's 452, I think. 456 pages. So just barely over 450, but this is the last book in my most recent 5-star predictions video, and I'd really like to do a new edition or a new version of this one soon. So I need to get this one done and in this TBR, but I've heard really good things. This is a standalone fantasy, and I've heard, like I said, good things. I've heard some mixed things about it from people that like I enjoy different things from. So I'm very curious how I'm going to fall into this category. But it follows our main character, Elizabeth. So she works in this library, and there are these things called magical grimoires that whisper on the shelves. And her job is to keep them on the shelves, and then something happens and she gets blamed for one of them escaping, and so she goes on the adventure to either find it or clear her name or both. So it sounds really good. Again, a standalone fantasy is not one that you see every day, so I'm really excited to see if this one is for me. And this author also has one that came out before this one, which was called Enchantment of Ravens, that I've held off buying because I want to see if I actually will enjoy her writing style. I think I will, but yeah, so this is my tome that I have to sit in the same place and read the whole time. So this is probably going to be the book I read before bed for like weeks this month, but yes. Okay.
Number 8. Read a paperback.
All right, the next one is to read a paperback, so I'm going to get in the book that I'd like to read from my books I want to read this year, and that is A Dance of the Fey Prince by Elise Kova. This is a Married to Magic novel. It's the second one. The third one in the series is supposed to be coming out this year, but I haven't seen a cover or anything for it, and it's supposed to be coming out in November, so we've got plenty of time, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a pushback or not. But the idea of this series is that they're all stand-alone books that just happen to take place in the same world. So you can read them out of order, you can skip them if you want, but they're all based on something. So the first book was based on like a Hades and Persephone / Beauty and the Beast retelling, and then this one is based on, I think, Cinderella and Psyche and Eros retelling. So I'm very interested to see how this one goes. But we follow our main character, Katrina, who swore she'd never fall in love, and she ends up having to basically get married to this Fey Prince. I think it's like an arranged marriage, and she's forced to like marry him. It's the two of them getting to terms with their relationship. I very much enjoyed the first book in this series, A Deal with the Elf King, so I would love to get to this one. I tried it in February. I read the very first chapter, and then I didn't really do anything beyond that. So I'm really hoping that I can get to it this month, because I'd really love to get through it, because I think it's going to be really good, and also I would love to have finished this one before the next one comes out, because I'm really bad at that. I'm really bad at like keeping up with series, so if I could, that'd be great. But also just retellings and everything about this sounds amazing. So that's my fun little paperback. I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be great.
Number 9. Read a romance.
Next one is to read a romance, so I'm going to use this space for my Tessa Dare buddy read, and the next one in that is Surrender of a Siren. Yes, Surrender of a Siren by Tessa Dare. This one is the second in the Wanton Dairy Maids series, or is trilogy, which the first one, I'll talk about more in my wrap-up, was not amazing, so I'm interested to see how I feel about this one. But this one follows our main character, Sophie, who we did meet in the first one, and she ends up running away from her betrothed because she wants an adventure, and she runs into this man named Benedict Grayson, and she kind of like smuggles herself onto his ship, I believe, and it's the two of them and their relationship of sorts. I think she's just trying to get away, and it's the two of them. Love these covers with these like illustrations on the bottom. I think they're stunning, but I'm hesitant because the second one was just okay. However, I meant first one, not second one. However, this is her first series. The first one in the series, Goddess of the Hunt, was her debut novel. This is her first series, and she wrote all 3 of them in the same year. So first off, props to her for being able to do that. I mean, looking at the stack of books that, you know, are Tessa Dare books, I've got all of them. There's like over 20 books here, and her debut was in 2009, and it's 2022, so that's like just over 10 years. That's a big amount. That's a lot of books to write in just about 10 years. So if I go into this one with very low expectations, I feel like I'll end up liking it. I'm not sure, but we'll see how this goes. But I'm interested to see, because Sophie was a character that like I actually did somewhat like from the first book, so I'm interested to see where she goes. But this is my romance. Also, it's super floppy, and that's just way too much fun.
Number 10. Read the shortest book, or a shorter book, under 300 pages.
And the very last prompt is to read a short book or a book that is under 300 pages. I love that in this video we got both a long book and a short book, but I'm going to use this for my nonfiction pick this month, and that is The Maid and the Queen, The Secret History of Joan of Arc by Nancy Goldstone. I have recently fallen in love again with Nancy Goldstone. I swear, like, I stop reading her books for a few months and then I pick up another one of her books and I just fall in love again. But I wanna read them all, and I think beyond this one, I think there's like 2 more books that are just her, maybe 3, that I need to get to. But this one follows Joan of Arc, and I think that's very interesting. I think Joan of Arc is a very interesting character, and looking at like the contents, I always like to look at how she sections her books, so I think they're really interesting. So this one is sectioned in 3 parts. We've got before Joan, Joan of Arc, and after Joan. So I'm interested to see how that's gonna work. But this one is just like, if you go to the very, very end of the book, it's over 300 pages, but there's a lot of like her sources and notes and stuff in this book, but the epilogue of this book ends on 249. So if you take acknowledgements, then 254, but like that's where it ends, and all of this is like notes and extra stuff. So I'm not counting that, but I just recently picked this one up last month, and I am just really interested in her writing, and I think Joan of Arc is a very interesting character, so I'd love to see what she does with this character. I think it's going to be very interesting. So that's my shorter book. I mean, I say shorter because it is short, but like the font is not fun, so I'm gonna have to find an audiobook of this one. Not that I wouldn't do that anyway, but it just seems like extra tough to read. So yeah, anyway, I'm very excited about this. So that's my list for this month. Pretty short. The basket was relatively nice to me, so I'm hoping for more of those. And happy 2 years to the basket. I mean, I can't believe I've been doing this for 2 years. I've really enjoyed it, even the months that have been like mean to me. So let me know down below if you have any prompts you'd like me to add in, any rewards, punishments, things like that you'd like me to add into the basket, because I added a lot of punishments but not a lot of rewards, so I'd like to add some that make just life easier. Or any prompts that you've got, any of the books I mentioned if you've read, let me know, or something that you are reading in June. And if you're participating in whatever-thon, what is your team? I forgot what my team is, but I wrote it down, and I am the Beach Readers team, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be vlogging the entire month, so stay tuned for those. And if you want to write something or comment something but you're not sure what to comment, isn't there like a beach ball emoji, or did I make that up? Something beachy. Because beach readers, but also we're hitting beach season and I am so excited. So do something fun like that. I think that's a palm tree. You can do a palm tree. That's fine. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to check all of that out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!